Welcome to JoyTube. We are still unveiling a captivating story from the book of Jasher, an epic journey of family, faith, and legacy. Today, we dive into the final chapters of Jacob's life, his reunion with Joseph in Egypt, the blessings upon his sons, and the dramatic events surrounding his burial. This is a tale of promises kept, conflicts resolved, and a family's enduring bond. Let's embark on this incredible journey together. Jacob's heart is torn. The news of Joseph being alive fills him with joy, but leaving the promised land of Canaan troubles him. He recalls God's covenant with Abraham, his grandfather, and wonders if his journey to Egypt could jeopardize the future of his descendants. In this moment of doubt, God speaks to Jacob and said to him, "Fear not to go down to Egypt, for there I will make you a great nation." Reassured by these words, Jacob rises and gathers his household. With 70 souls, they begin the long journey to Egypt, their caravan filled with hope and uncertainty. Judah, ever the loyal son, is sent ahead to prepare the way. Jacob prays silently. "Lord, let me see my son and find the faith of our forefathers alive in him, even amidst the temptations of Egypt." Joseph commands a grand procession to greet Jacob. Trumpets blare, drums beat rhythmically, and the streets of Egypt buzz with activity. Thousands of Egyptians join the procession, carrying gifts, strewing myrrh and aloes along the road. As Joseph approaches his father's caravan, he steps down from his chariot, removing the crown as a sign of humility. When Jacob sees Joseph from afar, his aged face lights up. "Who is this man walking toward us with such glory?" Jacob asks. Judah replies, "It is your son, Joseph, the ruler of Egypt." Jacob's voice trembles with emotion. "Now I can die in peace, for I have seen your face, and you are alive and well." The Egyptians, moved by the reunion, weep alongside the family. The joyous yet poignant moment is etched into the hearts of all present. "And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, Place thy father and brethren in the best part of the land, withhold not from them all that is good, and cause them to eat of the fat of the land. And Joseph answered, saying, Behold, I have stationed them in the land of Goshen, for they are shepherds, therefore let them remain in Goshen to feed their flocks apart from the Egyptians. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, Do with thy brethren all that they shall say unto thee. And the sons of Jacob bowed down to Pharaoh, and they went forth from him in peace, and Joseph afterward brought his father before Pharaoh. And Jacob came and bowed down to Pharaoh, and Jacob blessed Pharaoh, and Pharaoh asked Jacob, How old are you? Jacob answered and said, Few and evil have the days of the years of my life been, and have not attained to the days of the years of my fathers in the days of their pilgrimage. And Jacob bowed before Pharaoh, and left his presence. In his twilight years, Jacob speaks words of blessing and prophecy over his children. To Judah, he says, You are a lion's whelp, the scepter shall not depart from Judah. Your descendants shall rule, and they will protect their brothers. To Joseph, he offers these words. Though your brothers wronged you, God meant it for good, to preserve life. May your blessings surpass those of your ancestors. Jacob then blesses Joseph's sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, adopting them as his own and declaring that they will form two great tribes in Israel. The family listens intently, understanding the gravity of Jacob's words and the destiny he foretells. Jacob's voice, though weak, remains firm. When I am gone, bury me in the cave of Machpelah alongside Abraham and Isaac. Carry my body there with dignity, as I have commanded. After imparting his final instructions, Jacob draws his feet into the bed and passes peacefully. Joseph collapses onto his father, weeping uncontrollably. Oh, my father, my father! And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years, and the days of Jacob, and the years of his life were 147 years. The family tears their garments in mourning, covering themselves in sackcloth and ashes. The entire land of Egypt joins them in grief, and even Pharaoh orders a 70-day mourning period to honor Jacob. Pharaoh commanded all the nobles of Egypt to accompany Joseph to Canaan to bury his father Jacob. And all the kings of Canaan heard of this thing, and they all went forth, each man from his house, 31 kings of Canaan, and they all came with their men to mourn and weep over Jacob. And all these kings beheld Jacob's bier, and behold Joseph's crown was upon it, and they also put their crowns upon the bier, and encircled it with crowns. And all these kings made in that place a great and heavy mourning with the sons of Jacob and Egypt over Jacob, for all the kings of Canaan knew the valor of Jacob and his sons. And the report reached Esau, saying, Jacob died in Egypt, and his sons and all Egypt are conveying him to the land of Canaan to bury him. And Esau heard this thing, and he was dwelling in Mount Seir, and he rose up with his sons and all his people and all his household, a people exceedingly great, and they came to mourn and weep over Jacob. As the procession reaches the cave of Machpelah, Esau and his sons appear, blocking the entrance. This cave belongs to us, Esau declares. Joseph steps forward, presenting the legal records proving Jacob's ownership, but Esau denies their validity. Tempers flare, and a heated argument ensues. And Joseph called unto Naphtali his brother, and he said, Hasten quickly, stay not, and run I beg you, to Egypt and bring all the records, the record of the purchase, the sealed record and the open record, and also all the first records in which all the transactions of the birthright are written, fetch them. And you shall bring them unto us here, that we may know from them all the words of Esau and his sons which they spoke this day. And Naphtali hearkened to the voice of Joseph, and he hastened and ran to go down to Egypt, and Naphtali was lighter on foot than any of the stags that were upon the wilderness, for he would go upon ears of corn without crushing them. While they await Naphtali's return, a deaf and mute son of Dan and a grandson of Jacob, called Chushim, sees the delay as disrespect to his grandfather. Without hesitation, he strikes Esau with a sword, cutting off his head in a single blow. The conflict ends, and Jacob is laid to rest with great honor. The burial is unlike any seen before. 31 Canaanite kings lay their crowns around Jacob's bier in tribute to his legacy. Egyptians and Israelites alike mourn together, reflecting on Jacob's extraordinary life. Joseph ensures his father is buried with royal splendor, saying, No king shall be honored greater than my father Jacob. Jacob's life was a tapestry of trials, triumphs, and faith. His story reminds us that family bonds endure even through hardship, and God's promises remain steadfast across generations. Thank you for joining us in this retelling of the book of Jasher. If this story inspired you, please like, share, and subscribe to explore more timeless tales. Until next time, may these stories of old guide us in the present. This is JoyTube signing out.